Hace 20 años se hablaba de que era el momento de México. Toda nuestra planta industrial, Tratado de Libre Comercio, nos tenían en el punto exacto para que detonáramos como una potencia mundial. Sin embargo, el offshoring, la fabricación en lugares remotos, cambió todo. China se hizo una potencia mundial y el resto es historia. Pero hoy las cosas están cambiando. Nuevamente estamos en una posición inmejorable para retomar ese camino, el camino de ser un partícipe importante dentro de la geopolítica y la geoeconomía. En el episodio de hoy vamos a platicar de este tema tan interesante y lo que está ocurriendo aquí en Querétaro. Y hablaremos de un caso muy específico, la empresa Kairos. El día de hoy tenemos con nosotros a Sipele, directora de operaciones, Iván Contreras, gerente de nuevos proyectos, y a Ernesto Fragoso, gerente de reclutamiento de esta empresa internacional que está entrando a Querétaro y trae planes muy interesantes que vamos a conocer con ellos. Sipele, nice to see you. Did I say your name correctly?
Yes, you are. Great job.
First of all, let me ask you about the meaning of your name. It sounds very nice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm actually Hawaiian, and my name means sweetheart.
Sweetheart. It's a nice name. I did research on the internet and it says Kairos is a global company with around 8,050 employees.
Yes, that's correct.
He visto que están desarrollándose en varias áreas: transformación digital, digitalización, user experience, estrategias de gobierno, ciberseguridad, unificación de comunicaciones. Veo que hay mucha diversidad en cuanto a las actividades de Kairos. Platíquenme un poquito qué es Kairos.
Yes, it's exactly what you said. We are an international company with about 850 plus employees that really just focuses on digital transformation, making sure that the world around us is efficient and effective. And here in Mexico, we focus on providing the professionals and the experts to be able to do that.
I see that Kairos is a nearshore delivery center. What does that mean?
Yes. So one of the things that we see is a lot of the clients, especially in the IT world, are looking for companies that are on their same time zone and have the capabilities to hire staff, qualified professional staff that can deliver what their clients are looking for when it comes to digital transformation and providing IT solutions. And so what we do is we focus primarily on staffing solutions and helping make sure that we are finding qualified Mexico talent to be able to deliver the services for our international clients.
Okay. I understand that you are currently director of operations, but not only that. You have a mission to do soft landing for American companies that want to establish themselves in Mexico to do nearshoring. Tell me how this mission arose in you, and above all, why did you choose Querétaro? And more important, why did you choose Querétaro for live, since you know many other cities in Mexico?
Okay. Well, actually, we started operations here in Querétaro in 2021. We've been operating for a little over a year now. We started with 2 employees, 2 IT recruiters to help us find that IT talent here in Querétaro and all of Mexico. Within the first year, we got to about 25 positions, and hopefully by the end of this year, in 2023, we'll be at 50 positions. And really, why we chose Querétaro was because me personally, as an expat, as an American living here, I've had an amazing experience here in Mexico. And so when I had the opportunity to not only start my own company here in Mexico, but help other American and international companies come here to Mexico, I thought that, I fell in love with Querétaro. It was an instant home for me. Like you had mentioned, I had the opportunity to go live in and visit a lot of different places here in Mexico. And as soon as this became my home, it felt like home. From the places to shop here, the places to eat, the neighborhoods that I get to live in, all of that feels like home with the Mexican culture and feeling of family. And so I knew that the same way that that would appeal to me, it appeals to all of the clients and the companies that I get to work with. And when I started the company here, I was on a mission to really just help American companies and international companies understand the value of what it is to live here, what it is to work here, and what it is to have bilingual or multilingual staff. And many of these people lived in the United States, so they even understand the American culture. And then they're brought back here for whatever reason. And so not only do you have fantastic language, education, good hearts and good souls, but you have people that understand people like me, Americans, and that's a hard combination to find. And really, there's nowhere else in the world that you're going to find that much of it other than here in Mexico. And I have to say, really, for me, the expat community here in Querétaro, it's fantastic, and it's helped to make me successful by building companies with people that know just as much English and just as much culture as I do. And I just wanted to put a light on that, and I wanted other companies in the United States and around the world to know what exists here, because there's a huge opportunity here. Querétaro is the perfect mix of Mexico culture and U.S. amenities and ease of living. And so I fell in love with Querétaro. I helped establish companies here in Querétaro, and I think a lot of the clients find the same ease of communication, the technology, the internet, the amenities of the United States, the cleanliness, the security, and the safety of the United States, along with just the talent and the education that comes along here without the congestion and the traffic of some of those larger cities. And so I think Querétaro has a lot to offer when it comes to business, and it has a lot to offer when it comes to just quality of people.
I, I agree with you. It is the same reason why we all come to Querétaro to live.
Perfect.
Okay. What are the main obstacles that company like Kairos face to establish themselves in Mexico?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm going to pass it on to Ernesto. As the recruitment and HR manager, I think he sees a lot of it firsthand with his staff.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
¿Qué tal, Ernesto? Bienvenido.
Muchas gracias. Pues sí, viviendo en Querétaro y dándonos cuenta de cómo está el mercado laboral, vemos que la mayor parte de las personas que salen de las universidades están enfocadas en ingenierías hacia el área automotriz, pero todavía falta un poco más de desarrollo en la parte de las tecnologías de información. Entonces, ese es uno de los principales dificultades que tenemos para poder encontrar el talento en Querétaro. Aparte de eso, por la naturaleza de nuestro negocio, que estamos contratando gente que trabaje vía remota para nuestros clientes que están en Estados Unidos, la parte de la comunicación en inglés fluida es también una parte que tenemos que trabajar para poder encontrar talento en Querétaro. Entonces, en esa parte son como las principales. Dentro de las universidades, creo que también es necesario que adapten sus programas para que los chicos, cuando salgan de las universidades, tengan una mejor preparación en cuanto a lo que la industria requiere. Que estén más enfocados, que las universidades y empresa puedan alinearse para que la transición de universidad hacia sus primeros trabajos sean mucho más fáciles para ellos. Hay como ese desfase, ¿no? Y se da el clásico situación por parte de los chicos, ¿no? Quiero encontrar un trabajo, pero me requieren experiencia. Y por el otro lado, las empresas quieren contratar personal, pero no encuentran.
Ya con todo, ¿no? Todo el
Exacto.
paquete.
Entonces, hacer ese gap menor o una forma de que podamos hacerlo una transición más lineal sería mucho mejor para todos. Y es uno de los retos que tenemos.
Iván y Ernesto, ustedes como mexicanos son una muestra de ese talento que requieren empresas que participan en este fenómeno del nearshoring. Cuéntenme un poco sobre su trayectoria. ¿Siempre se prepararon para trabajar en una empresa americana como objetivo de su formación? ¿O cómo fue este camino?
Pues creo que ya cuando crecimos y nos dimos cuenta que tener inglés era importante para poder alcanzar una mejor posición o trabajar con una mejor compañía, fue que nos dimos cuenta. Yo personalmente hablo de mi historia y yo me di cuenta hasta cuando ya fui grande que el inglés me abría las puertas a un mundo de oportunidades mucho más vasto para poder seguir creciendo y desarrollándome profesionalmente.
Ok, y por ejemplo, tú en el tema del inglés, ¿lo has visto en las nuevas generaciones que tengan la misma visión o trayectoria que tú tenías en ese tiempo?
Pues creo que tienen muchísimo acceso. Hoy, gracias a la era de la información, tienen mucho acceso a poder ser autodidactas y como enlazarlo o integrarlo con lo que están viendo en la escuela y poder aprender a través de la era de la información el inglés y dominarlo. Pero creo que la influencia de las redes sociales como TikTok y otras plataformas que usan pequeñas frases de inglés como los videojuegos, por mencionar uno que es uno de los más famosos, Fortnite, que usan también inglés o términos en inglés, se quedan hasta ese punto, sin ir más allá, sin pensar en la parte profesional. Y creo que de nuestra parte podríamos impulsarlos a ver una visión más amplia a largo plazo y de invitarlos a que dominen el
Claro.
idioma inglés.
Sí, como que se están quedando en una especie de Spanglish donde creen que están hablando en inglés, pero en realidad tienen como, digamos, el paquete básico del videojuego del Fortnite, ¿no? Por dar una idea. Bueno, creo que es importante esta visión que tienes porque, bueno, nosotros ya pasamos por ahí y si no aprendimos bien, pues ni modo. Pero los jóvenes tienen ahorita una mayor presión por hacerlo, sobre todo hablando del tema del nearshoring. Es decir, estamos viviendo, y aquí es una pregunta que me gustaría hacerle a Sipeli. En verdad es un reto por este lado. Estoy de acuerdo contigo, pero del otro lado, Sipeli, ¿habíamos hablado de los retos que enfrenta una empresa que se instala en México?
Yes. So I think one of the main things is helping companies to understand the differences in law and the differences in benefits and taxes and the requirements that go along with hiring Mexican employees. And one of the main things that we see is the tax liability here compared to the tax liability that you would see, for instance, in the United States. It's quite large, 36-40% difference in what you're seeing. And so there's a lot of liability when we're looking at bringing on IT staff for companies, especially when you look at the way that the contracts are written into IT. And so we really have to make sure that we do due diligence when we're hiring those employees and that we're finding staff that really are in it for the long term and that we're working with companies that are looking for long-term solutions, 1-year contracts, 2-year contracts, to make sure that it's beneficial. Because between the tax liability and between the additional benefits that come with hiring a Mexican employee, including the severance package that are allotted to employees, it makes hiring them a huge risk. Especially if you look now, when you were talking about nearshoring, when you look now at the options available to international companies, where you can go south of the border, the Mexican border, into Central America, and you can hire those employees without all of that tax liability. And so I think that's something that kind of gets in the way of hiring Mexican employees. Now, the English level is generally better. The communication and the ease of those companies getting to Mexico and the peace of mind, I think that hiring a Mexican employee over somebody in Central America or farther Central America it kind of gets offset by the expenses and the liability that you take on hiring a Mexican employee. And so that's something that a lot of international companies are looking at now.
Okay. About taxes, how big is the gap between countries like India and Mexico?
There is a high tax liability in India as well. The difference is a lot of these companies, international companies, are established in India. Also, when you look at hiring Indian staff, the longevity and the turnaround on hiring those employees, once you hire them, they're yours forever. And so really, it helps reduce the risk. So even though the tax liability is still high in places like India, really you have less liability in places like India because once you hire that employee, they're going to stay your employee for a very long time. Here, especially in the younger generation of IT professionals, they're much more likely to get up and switch jobs, whereas 10, 15 years ago, people pretty much stayed put in a job, especially if it gave you the stability and security that you were looking for. I think our biggest competition right now is not places across shore. It's here on the same soil as us. It's Central America. It's places like Colombia and Costa Rica and Argentina. Those are the areas that we have to compete with right now.
Ok, entonces la verdadera competencia del nearshore no es la India o China, es América.
Yes, exactly. And really, we shouldn't look at it as competition, right? We are in a prime position where we could be the voice for those countries as well. And we can help lead the efforts to find that talent and to source that talent and create the same opportunities for them that we're creating for ourselves here in Mexico.
I understand that in Mexico we do not have a business ecosystem adequately linked with the universities, but I know that there are currently enormous efforts to achieve effective integration. What of them is TD 2035, an initiative that aims to turn Querétaro into a digital society with a more knowledge-oriented economy. It is a long-term initiative that already represents an important change in our culture. You are welcome if you wish to participate.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm actually very excited about this initiative. I was really happy to hear about that because it aligns with what we are as Kairos are trying to do. And I hope that it allows us to open up the communication pathways between companies like ours, international companies that are looking for that talent coming out of school and wanting to invest and help build this youth and this next generation to help digitally transform the entire universe. So I'm hoping that this collaboration will allow us to do that.
Sipele, for years offshore in both manufacturing and services has been the norm. Are we seeing a change in trend in a global scale?
Absolutely. So I would say in the IT world specifically, 10 years ago, people were not looking for IT talent in Mexico. Really, that only happened in the Philippines, in India, and in offshore countries. And now we're seeing a huge trend where all of those Indian jobs and jobs in the Philippines and other offshore countries are now making its way over here. And I think American companies specifically and Canadian companies specifically are understanding that there's something to be said for having people within your same time zone. There's something to be said for being able to get on a plane and being in this country with your staff in 2 hours versus 24 hours. And just living in this neck of the woods allows us to be able to understand our cultures a little bit better and have a similar goal in mind. And you can see that Canada and the United States and Mexico are now working more cohesively together to be able to create opportunities in all of North America. So I think that there's this shift not only from offshoring to nearshoring, but just this shift within these three countries of seeing the value and the importance of working together and building opportunities not only for our own country, but for all three countries alike.
Now, as you say, this trend originates from the convenience that arises from some elements such as the integration of supply chains, sharing the time zone, even cultural integration by a huge community of Mexicans in the United States, among others, of course. Do you think the recent meeting between Mr. Biden, Mr. Trudeau, and the President López Obrador here in Mexico, within the framework of TMEC, enhances this trend?
I think that we can all see that the collaboration efforts between TMEC is becoming stronger. And so I think the farther we move along with this agreement, the more strengthened we are going to have. So this really helps us protect small businesses within our own countries, as well as being able to collaboratively work together. One of the biggest things in the TMEC agreement right now that they're working through, it has to do with intellectual property, which is, I think, a cornerstone of any IT solution and the technology transformation that is coming. So I think all of this will help lead to and strengthen how all of the North America companies work together.
Well, if Mexico and especially Querétaro, we improve infrastructure conditions, we strengthen our ecosystem with the even more active participation of universities, and in general, we improve the environment for companies. Well, regarding taxes, I don't think anything better will happen, but so, well, if this happens soon, what benefits await us?
Yes, well, I think the TD 2035 strategy is in perfect time, right? Right now, with the transition from offshoring to nearshoring, it really gives Mexico, especially Querétaro, the opportunity to become the cornerstone of Latin America when it comes to IT, really setting up a name and a reputation to represent all of Latin America for IT talent and make a transitional change so that companies are very secure when it comes from not looking to India anymore for their solutions, but rather looking to their own backyard in Mexico. And we're talking about just within the last year, we've been able to bring 4 IT companies here. We're working in alliances, and there's this huge collaborative effort in the United States with over 2,500 IT companies that are coming together and meeting monthly and then meeting in a yearly conference, and they're looking for solutions like Querétaro. So if Querétaro is serious about really trying to become the backbone, this is the perfect time. And they really need to take advantage of this, open their doors to these international companies, allow them to work with the universities and help build the youth that is coming out of these colleges and create the future for IT here in Querétaro. And that could be hundreds of IT companies coming here. They're looking for a place. They just need somebody to be as dedicated and as motivated so that they are secure bringing their money here, their talent, their wealth, and their information.
What are the expected results for Kairos in Mexico this year?
Well, I think as a company, we would like to see at least 50 positions. As my role as Director of Operations, I'd also like, my goal and my strategy is to bring more business here. More IT companies equals more opportunities for employees here in Mexico, and really, the more light that we shine on Querétaro and on Mexico and on the talent that we have available here, not only does that help Kairos, but it helps all of our industry. We have to create a funnel or a pathway for jobs to come here. And so we're looking at at least 5 to 10 companies, probably 100 to 200 jobs if we can continue on the path that we're on to enlighten the United States and our international partners about the opportunities and about the talent available here in Querétaro. If we can allow Querétaro to partner with us as Kairos and help it be known about the strategies that Querétaro is making efforts to be the hub here. And Querétaro wants to open its doors to IT companies. And it's just allowing that communication to start to happen so that we can bring more IT business here, more international companies here, and really allow more jobs here into Mexico. Once we do that, then I think the sky's the limit.
¿Y qué proyectos tienen sobre la meta de reclutamiento? Habías mencionado algo sobre el proyecto de enfermería y algunos otros.
Yeah, so in addition to IT, because we're always looking for Java developers and those types of things. So if you're a Java developer, please come talk to us. But we're always looking for IT positions. But in addition to that, we're seeing industries change. Not only IT is looking to come nearshore, the nursing industry and the healthcare industry wants to be able to take talent from Mexico and not only use them remotely for projects and things that they're doing here, but being able to take that talent and TN visa them to the United States, as well as the automotive industry. We're even seeing work in the legal industry. Just recently, we had a request for over 200 emergency room nurses and staff to be able to TN visa Mexican professionals and send them to the United States for work.
Ernesto, cuéntame específicamente qué proyectos o qué candidatos de puestos podrían crearse comenzando por Kairos.
Claro que sí, como ya lo mencionaba Sipeli, esperamos que tengamos 50 solamente en lo que ahorita estamos trabajando, 50 posiciones cubiertas para el final de año. Pero hay algunos otros proyectos que están ahorita trabajándose que nos podrían abrir una mayor posibilidad. Hay un proyecto en el cual nosotros podemos trabajar junto con universidades para poder capacitar gente, chicos saliendo de las universidades que tengan algunas certificaciones en diferentes tecnologías, estarán trabajando con Kairos un tiempo y después pueden ser llevados a Estados Unidos con una visa TN.
¿Ustedes tramitan esa visa?
Así es, nosotros trabajamos junto con el cliente que lo solicita, trabajamos todos estos procedimientos y estamos hablando de que serían aproximadamente 100 personas al mes. Entonces, es un proyecto grande y bueno, debe ser una convocatoria no solamente para Querétaro, para poder cubrir la demanda, sino a nivel nacional.
Claro. Y comentaba Sipeli acerca también de un tema sobre enfermeras bilingües.
Es correcto, sí, también está este proyecto en estudio que nos están pidiendo 200 enfermeras. Y también se trabajaría la parte de la visa para que pudieran irse a trabajar a Estados Unidos.
O sea, que no solo hablamos de ti, hablamos de muchos oficios y profesiones que también tienen demanda.
Así es, de hecho se está abriendo el mercado y como lo ha mencionado Sipeli, es un momento perfecto para que podamos hacer esto.
El timing, 100 positions in it, 200 in bilingual nursing, and this hotbed of developers to certify and process work visas for 100 people a month from a single company sounds great. Now, from your knowledge, what is the potential for more companies in the United States? You told me about a network of IT companies with similar needs.
Yes, so one of the things that they've established is a coalition of IT companies in the United States. They get together regularly and they talk about the trends that are happening within the IT industry. They talk about through networking opportunities and really collaborate on how to solve solutions within the IT field amongst themselves. And so as I mentioned, one of the great things that we've been able to do is collaborate with them to help them fulfill needs. And the truth is, as much IT talent as there is in the United States, it's not enough. And Mexico is in a perfect position to be able to work directly with those 2,500 companies to not only help Mexico provide its talent, but all of Latin America provide their talent as well. And so really going to conferences, letting these companies know what Querétaro's plans are, letting them know of the TD 2035 initiative is really going to help skyrocket and open the doors and the communication between Mexico and between this Synergy conference.
¡Wow! 2.500 empresas de TI que están listas para venir a México en el nearshoring, aprovechando el nearshoring, y que conforman parte de esta red de IT Alliance y que de verdad creo que es una oportunidad enorme para nosotros. Creo que como sociedad tenemos un gran reto. Me dirijo a ustedes, nuestros escuchas, porque creo que es verdaderamente una enorme oportunidad. Sabemos que es la punta del iceberg, lo comenta Sipele. Es el timing perfecto para que hagamos el cambio necesario y que podamos aprovechar en esta ocasión esta tendencia nueva del nearshoring, que no es nueva, como lo comentamos anteriormente, pero que sí están dándose las condiciones para que no sea una tormenta perfecta, lo contrario, un paraíso perfecto para nosotros. Geográficamente lo hemos escuchado en esta conversación, la infraestructura, la gente, nuestra cultura, nuestra cercanía, todos los elementos y los retos, como hemos hablado precisamente del idioma, que es, mi caso, quizá lo que más debemos poner atención, porque el talento lo tenemos la capacidad, tenemos el esfuerzo, somos el país en el mundo que trabaja más horas, así que dedicación y compromiso lo tenemos. Creo que es una oportunidad irrepetible para nosotros. Sipele, it's a pleasure to see you and to know the positive impact that you are achieving in Querétaro. Ernesto, Iván, les agradezco muchísimo estar aquí compartiendo sus experiencias y pues nuevamente, no sé si quieran hacer algún comentario.
Vale, muchas gracias por invitarnos. Ha sido un placer estar aquí y poder comentar todos estos temas tan importantes para nosotros. Y pues yo me gustaría invitar a toda la gente que tenga el talento y conocimiento de IT y que tenga, que quiera superarse, quiera seguir avanzando, que tenga el idioma inglés también, obviamente, para que se ponga en contacto con nosotros y podamos trabajar juntos.
Excelente. Iván, ¿algún comentario adicional?
Por supuesto, agradecerte la oportunidad y también invitar a la gente a ampliar la invitación de Ernesto y que formen parte de una compañía con cultura, con principios, con visión y que está ayudando a esa transformación digital y tecnológica para México e impulsar a nuestro talento mexicano para que tengan oportunidades más allá de nuestras fronteras. Así es que los invitamos de corazón a que formen parte de una gran compañía con visión y con principios.
Excelente. Aprovéchenlo. Les dejamos aquí en Innoteca.mx sus redes sociales de Kairos y de nuestros invitados para que ustedes puedan conocerlos más de cerca. No olviden suscribirse a nuestro canal y encontrarnos en TikTok, en Instagram, en casi todas las redes, escucharnos en nuestro podcast en audio en Spotify, en iHeartRadio, en iTunes, en el que ustedes quieran. En todas las plataformas estamos.
Thank you so much for having us.
Muchas gracias y hasta la próxima.